macht der beruflich?
Das ist ein sehr schöner 25. Geburtstag. Die Europäische Zentralbank, unser Euro, haben eine gute Tradition begründet. Eine Währung, die ein ganz wichtiges Mittel der Integration unserer Europäischen Union ist. Eine Währung, die weltweit eine große Rolle spielt, aber die auch ein Hort für Stabilität ist. Und es ist uns gelungen, in den letzten Jahren gemeinsam große Herausforderungen zu bewältigen, wie die Covid-19-Pandemie und jetzt auch die ökonomischen und finanziellen Auswirkungen des russischen Angriffs auf die Ukraine. Und das ist umso mehr ein Anlass, hier zusammenzukommen und dafür Sorge zu tragen, dass unsere Währung sich gut weiterentwickeln kann.
"25 years ago, on the 1st of June 1998, the European Central Bank started operating with a clear mandate: to maintain price stability. We are the custodians of the euro, our single currency in Europe. But how did we get here?
After the Second World War, European countries founded a community with deep economic ties. But something was missing: a single currency. 4 decades later, in 1992, the first steps were taken towards creating a truly united Europe, when member states signed the Treaty on European Union in Maastricht.
The Maastricht Treaty paved the way for our single currency. The vision was clear: the currency should bring Europeans together and strengthen economic ties between countries in Europe, thereby cementing decades of peace.
In 1994, the European Monetary Institute was created to prepare the new money. 4 years later, European leaders gave the green light for the euro, and the European Central Bank started to operate on the 1st of June 1998 in Frankfurt. On the 1st of January 1999, the euro itself came into force, with 11 initial member states.
Just 3 years later, on the 1st of January 2002, the biggest currency changeover in history took place. Euro banknotes and coins began circulating, and people across the single currency bloc started to pay in euro.
Today, more than 346 million Europeans across 20 countries use the euro every day. They can travel and do business within the euro area without currency fluctuations.
For 25 years, the decision-making body of the ECB, the Governing Council, has been responsible for ensuring price stability in the euro area. We've seen 4 presidents: Wim Dausenberg, Jean-Claude Trichet, Mario Draghi, and since November 2019, Christine Lagarde.
The ECB has been an anchor of stability throughout the global financial crisis, the pandemic, and Russia's unjustified war against Ukraine. New instruments such as asset purchases were added to the ECB's toolkit to keep the economy going and to stabilize prices.
Our target for price stability is 2% inflation over the medium term. For some years, inflation was too low. Right now, though, it's too high, and we're doing all that is needed to bring it back to 2%.
Today, more than 4,200 people work for the ECB in 3 buildings across Frankfurt. The new main building was inaugurated in 2015. Over time, the ECB has taken on new tasks to adapt to a constantly changing world. In 2014, European banking supervision was established. Today, we are supervising around 100 of the most important banks in the euro area.
In 2021, we launched our climate strategy, making sure we do our part to address climate change within our mandate. And we're also delivering on our gender targets within the ECB. We're becoming more digital too. To complement cash as the safest means of payment, and to keep up with an increasingly digitalised society, we're looking into launching a digital euro.
But even amid all these changes, our task remains securing price stability and ensuring a stable banking system in the interest of European citizens.
Stability is our thing.
Excellencies, President of EU institutions, Lord Mayor, members of the Governing and General Councils and Supervisory Board of the ECB, dear Jean-Claude, dear Mario, dear members of the Executive Board, dear colleagues, dear friends, thank you very much for joining what we regard here as a family reunion. You are mostly welcome, and all of you, whether you are chancellors, ministers, high representatives, the euro is yours and the ECB acts for you. It is a pleasure to welcome all of you to this reception marking the 25th anniversary of the ECB and the euro system. It was Helmut Kohl, former German Chancellor, who famously observed that peace means more than just an absence of war. And at its root, the story of the euro is one of building the foundation for lasting peace. It is a story that stems from Europe's far-sighted decision after the Second World War to bind its economies together so tightly that our future would be inseparable, and which in turn created the most powerful logic underpinning European integration. This engine of integration meant that whenever we faced trials, we did not retreat into division and let what we had built together fail. Instead, laboriously on occasion, we met those challenges head-on and together. And it was this same spirit that made, from the late 80s onwards, the single currency a necessary next step on our European journey. Irreversible. But remember those days. At that time, both Europe and the world were changing. First, our common market was evolving into the single market. This made it even more important to remove the prospect of competitive devaluations among major economies, since that would have undermined trust and turned the tide against openness. But with global capital flows multiplying, Europe's fixed exchange rate system was becoming increasingly unstable, a problem epitomized by the exchange rate mechanism crisis in 1992-1993. Second, the global integration of finance was also threatening Europeans with the loss of monetary sovereignty. The monetary policies of large countries that issued global currencies, especially the United States, were exerting ever larger global effects. Regardless of the exchange rate regime used, this meant that the scope for smaller countries to set monetary conditions in line with their domestic needs was gradually narrowing. Third, and I should have started with that, as the Berlin Wall fell and the Cold War ended, there were new fundamental questions about the direction of Europe and who would hold sway within it. And that created a powerful need for new European symbols that could tie people within a larger and more diverse union. The euro was the logical answer to all three of these changes. It offered Europeans stability, sovereignty, and solidarity. And the euro delivered stability, sovereignty, and solidarity through crisis, the crisis. And we can be grateful for the foresight of Europe's visionary founders. When the euro was born on January 1st, 1999, when we all remember exactly what we were doing those days, the founders could never have imagined the crisis that lay ahead. The first president of the ECB, Wim Duisenberg, late Win, faced September 11 and the dot-com crisis. His successor, President Jean-Claude Trichet, thank you, Jean-Claude, for being here tonight, had to navigate the global financial crisis and face the sovereign debt crisis in its early days, which my predecessor, President Mario Draghi, thank you, Mario, for being with us, inherited. And he had to contend with fears about the very future of the euro area, followed by a prolonged period of too low inflation. And my own presidency has already seen the pandemic and economic lockdown, Russia's brutal and unacceptable invasion of Ukraine, the energy crisis, and the return of way too high inflation. Yet the fundamental promise of the euro has held true. And thanks in no small part to our monetary union, we've been able to weather it all and come out just a bit stronger each and every step of the way. First, the euro has brought us stability. With stable exchange rate, the single market and the commitment to peace that it represents has not only survived, but it has thrived. One can only imagine how tempting protectionism would have been if the possibility of competitive devaluations had not been eradicated. The euro has also shielded us from external shocks. Soon after its launch, it quickly established itself as the world's second reserve and invoicing currency. To this day, still holds this position. As a result, the price of more than half of what we trade is now denominated in euro, and for the other half, the single currency has helped insulate the economy from excessive exchange rate volatility. According to ECB staff estimates, had the euro not been introduced, the depreciation of some euro area countries, which will remain unnamed, against the US dollar could have been up to 14% larger during the great financial crisis and up to 10% larger during the pandemic. Now, of course, instability has arisen in other areas that were missing from the original design of the euro area, most painfully during the sovereign debt crisis. But where some of the gaps have appeared, they have been filled, most importantly, through the creation of European banking supervision. Thank you, Andrea. Second, the euro has increased our sovereignty, allowing us to be the master of our own economic destiny and to set the monetary policy that Europe needs for stable prices and sustained growth. Thanks to our single monetary policy, the ECB has been able to respond quickly and decisively to every kind of shock we have faced. And we have done so even when other large jurisdictions were pulling in a different direction. And this was perhaps most visible when the US Federal Reserve System began a tightening cycle in 2013, while the euro area was still recovering from the sovereign debt crisis. Our policy independence allowed us to chart our own course and begin a recovery that lasted for 26 straight quarters. Third, the euro has created solidarity within Europe. It has provided a symbol of unity through incredibly testing times. and motivation to support each other through the darkest of hours. And for these reasons, new countries continue to join. Over the past 25 years, we have welcomed 9 new members to the euro area, bringing us from the 11 original to 20, with the most recent, Croatia, joining at the start of this year. And this is not the end of the journey. We have now reached a position where people can actually separate institutions from policies, which is, in my view, is the hallmark of success. They may like or dislike the policies of the ECB, but they mostly no longer question whether being part of the euro area is the right choice. While the share of people who support the euro hit a low at around 60% during the sovereign crisis, that figure is now close to 80%. And the depth of this support has also been demonstrated at the ballot box whenever membership of the euro area has featured in national elections. Does that mean that work is done, we can rest on our laurels? No. It means that we are now in a position to make the best choices for our monetary union rather than about having a union at all. It is now time for the next chapter in the euro story to be written. And that will depend on the actions that we as Europeans undertake. We, all of us. For the ECB, our immediate and overriding priority will be to bring inflation back down to our 2% medium-term target in a timely manner. And we will do so. But as I recently said, faced with shifting geopolitics, digital transformations, and the threat of a changing climate, there will be more challenges ahead which the ECB will need to address. We must continue to provide stability in a world that is anything but stable. And we are also counting on other policymakers to do their part. A monetary union is not an endpoint. It is a constant process of uniting. Each generation of leaders must continue it. Union should be multifaceted and include fiscal, financial, and banking dimensions to develop a higher degree of integration, especially if the euro is to cement its international status. When Wim Duesenberg accepted the Charlemagne Prize on behalf of the euro in 2002, he portrayed the euro as a triple contract. It is a contract between countries to pool their strength, a contract between the ECB and the people of Europe to deliver on their needs, most of all price stability, and a contract between Europeans themselves to share their common currency, so he said. But a contract does not only grant rights, it also assigns responsibilities. And now it is up to all of us, leaders, institutions, and citizens, to continue to honor this contract for many years to come. Thank you very much for your patience. And now, time for music.
Madam President, Chair Christine, Excellencies, Presidents, colleagues, staff members of the ECB, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Shortly after I had been sworn in as Minister of Finance, I visited the ECB Tower for the first time. I felt that it was important to come here to Frankfurt right at the beginning of my then term. Because the ECB is at the heart of our common currency. Because the euro has made Europe a tangible part of our everyday lives. And because Europe's large single market is complemented by one of the largest currencies in the world, making us stronger globally. And the euro area keeps growing. I'm pleased that Croatia joined our currency union at the beginning of this year, becoming the 20th member of our euro family. Others share this aspiration, and I'm confident that more countries will follow in the future. After all, the euro has turned out to be one of the most successful EU integration projects. That slightly laconic statement hides a tremendous amount of hard work. Work done here at the ECB, but also in Brussels and in all of our member states. Time and again, our common currency has been put to the test, and sometimes along with the commitment and determination of the euro area itself. The financial crisis and the sovereign debt crisis, the COVID pandemic, the economic consequences of Russia's war against Ukraine, there was no ready-made recipe for responding to any of these. That is what makes it all the more remarkable that we can state one thing very clearly today. The euro area is able to defend its currency against all challenges. The euro is irreversible. The ECB has played an unparalleled role in this. Thank you for protecting our currency, dear Jean-Claude Trichet, dear Mario Draghi, dear Christine Lagarde, and our gratitude includes Wim Duisenberg, who left us far too early. You guided and shaped monetary policy through these last 25 years. And when it mattered, your actions and words made a difference. When many feared and some betted that the euro area would break apart, the ECB stood true to its mandate. And it took you, Mario, only a few decisive words to calm down the markets. Whatever it takes. I believe that with these words you not only calmed down markets, I'm convinced they will enter the history books. And during the COVID pandemic, you, Christine, stated that extraordinary times require extraordinary action. Clearly, the basis and remit for this is defined by the ECB's competency and mandate. At these decisive moments, your leadership gave the world confidence in our common currency. In 1998, the ECB was founded as a strong and independent central bank with a clear mandate, maintaining price stability in the euro area. After the first 25 years, we can say that our common currency is indeed attractive, safe, and stable. When it became necessary to establish common banking supervision for large financial institutions, the ECB also stepped in by serving as the home for a new single supervisory mechanism and setting it up in record time. It is safe to say the ECB has been an anchor for stability in the euro area, or as you phrased it in the video, stability is your thing. That comes as a reassurance for our citizens, also in the current economic environment. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine is first and foremost a catastrophe for the brave Ukrainian people. But it also puts our countries to an unprecedented test. A test, I might add, that we have so far passed, because we have stood more united than ever. Last year, we have seen the highest inflation rates since the creation of the euro. The consequences are being felt by citizens all over Europe. Those with the lowest income and little savings are being hit the hardest. So it is good to know that while we are celebrating this special occasion here tonight, the ECB is actively fighting inflation. I fully support this effort, if I may say so with all due respect to the ECB's independence. This independence is essential for a stable and credible monetary policy. After all, the value of a currency depends to a large extent on trust. Trust in the institutions that are responsible for this currency. Without trust, neither paper or digital money has any meaningful value. However, stability and trust are by no means impediments to progress. On the contrary, the work on a digital euro is an ambitious and forward-looking project that will strengthen European sovereignty. To bring its full potential to bear, we should allow for its widest possible use by private and business customers. Strengthening the euro area also requires progress on important legislative projects. As member states of the European Union, we must play our part. Completing the capital markets union is essential to mobilizing the funds we all need to tackle the biggest challenge ahead of us, the transition of our economies and societies towards climate neutrality. Moreover, as I have already outlined as finance minister, there is an obvious need to continue our work on the banking union. Here we are aiming for targeted and effective improvements while building on well-established solutions that are already in place in member states. And ladies and gentlemen, we are also doing our part when it comes to supporting the ECB's work to implement its core mandate. As much as all EU member states were right in conducting expansive fiscal policy during the pandemic, just remember our groundbreaking agreement on Next Generation EU. Our fiscal policies will now have to adjust again and keep an eye on limiting inflationary pressure. That's how we must join forces with the ECB in the fight against inflation. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to be the ECB's home country. 5,000 employees from all over Europe work for the ECB and the European banking supervision. By the way, this includes a growing number of women. And I can only make an educated guess that this also has to do with your work, Christine, and your role as a trailblazer for equality. Since you became president in 2019, you have not only broken through glass ceilings, you have also opened the ECB's glass doors towards the urban society of Frankfurt, quite literally, on Night of the Museums this year. The ECB is also strengthening Frankfurt's role as a leading financial center in Europe, and I may say there are new chances to continue with this. Following Brexit, Frankfurt has recorded by far the largest number of new license applications for banks and other financial services firms. So it is fair to say your presence, the presence of the ECB in Frankfurt, is shaping the city just like the euro is shaping the European Union for the better. And as I said, there might be new institutions. With an eye to the future, I hope the ECB will continue to be the haven of stability, the beacon of independence and trust, and the trailblazer for progress that we have come to know. Thanks for your hard work and your commitment over the past 25 years. A commitment you called for, Jean-Claude, when you accepted the Charlemagne Prize, and you said that every generation needs to commit itself to Europe all over again. I couldn't agree with you more. So let's commit to Europe again today, by committing to the euro again today to guarantee the prosperity, unity and stability of our European Union. Happy anniversary.
President Lagarde, Chair Christine, Chancellor Scholz, President Michel, President von der Leyen, President Christodoulides, distinguished guests. The ECB is no stranger to change and to getting us out of the toughest spots. Its roots can be traced back to the largest monetary changeover in history. As we saw in 1998, it was set up as an EU institution at the core of our euro system. That was an act of political courage and of foresight. The responsibility it holds has always been enormous. And yet even the most Europeans of Europeans could not have predicted just how central a role it would play in its first 25 years. A role central to our banking system, to our economic stability, to our outlook, to our sustainable growth, and central to Europeans being able to achieve their aims. I will continue from where Chancellor Scholz left off, when 11 years ago, Mario Draghi's whatever it takes moment marked the turnaround of Europe's sovereign debt crisis. It is what turned a banking institution into, perhaps one would say, an unlikely superhero. It gave confidence to investors, to banks, to markets, to citizens. It gave us the way forward we needed so badly. That is what the ECB has meant for our way of life. And those three words became the mantra not just for the European Central Bank, but for the European Union as a whole. It took conviction, ambition, negotiation, and compromise to overhaul our economic and monetary framework back in 2012. The same spirit was required 2 years ago, when we came together to agree on the unprecedented Next Generation EU. Today we can be proud that in the face of this challenging geopolitical context of high energy prices, of inflation, an illegal war on our borders, all framed within an ongoing climate crisis and a post-pandemic recovery, the European economy continues to show resilience. We have shown that we can absorb the shocks to our systems. The ECB, thanks in no small part to the leadership and the force of nature that is President Lagarde, continues to persevere. It is leading. But perhaps it is time to restate what should be the obvious. Our European economy depends on our banks. They are the litmus test of our economy, our small businesses, our multinationals, the very basis of our own economic growth depends on us providing the right framework. And a green and digital transition is only possible if we can manage to support and sustain economic growth. It is the only way we can hope to service the debts incurred in the post-pandemic recovery. Yes, growth must be based on new models, on sustainable footings, on new ways, but that is the only way forward. It is how we address the real issues and cushion the challenges facing businesses and families across Europe who are feeling the pinch, who face higher bills, uncertain housing markets, and who struggle to make it to the end of the month. If our businesses and industries are to create jobs, generate wealth, ensure Europe's global competitiveness, and keep capital in Europe, we need to complete our banking union and our capital markets union. We cannot afford that we lose out. Largely thanks to the ECB leadership and the courageous way that we have tackled inflation, we have restored confidence in our systems. And I know that we will stay the course, but we must remain vigilant. So on today's special occasion, I would like to join in applauding the work of the ECB and its 4 successive presidents over the past 25 years, President Lagarde, President Draghi, President Trichet, and the late President Dausenberg, who have steered this institution from strength to strength and not only safeguarded, but reinforced our common currency, who faced those who bet against us and answered skepticism with stability. So here's to them and to you all. Happy quarter of a century. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear President Lagarde, dear Christine, dear Chancellor, dear President Draghi, dear President Trichet, dear Roberta, dear Ursula, dear Chancellor Olaf, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this invitation to celebrate 25 years of the European Central Bank. I started my political career before the Maastricht Treaty and before the launch of the euro. And our generation learned to count using the franc, the mark, the lira, all our different national currencies. But today, finally, we have one clear answer to the long-standing question, when I am in Europe, how should I pay? Europe has come a long way since I bought my first second-hand motorcycle in Belgian France. And the European Central Bank is an excellent example. This institution is a concrete expression of the progress we have made on our European journey. This is a concrete expression of how European ideas, how European dreams have grown and taken shape, and that's why it's such a pleasure to be here with you today to pay tribute to the important role the ECB plays in the vitality of our union. You are in charge of our union's monetary policy. You are ensuring the stability of one of the world's key reserve currencies, the euro, and you have the crucial job of monitoring and supervising our banks so EU citizens can have confidence that their money is safe and secure, more important today than ever. We can all be proud of what has been achieved in these past 25 years. All of you here today, the members of the governing bodies and staff, you have breathed life into the dreams of our European founding fathers. Ladies and gentlemen, the birth of the ECB in 1998 was a milestone in the history of the European Union. It symbolized a commitment to a new era of economic integration, stability, and sovereignty. The euro, a world-class currency, has grown into a powerful symbol of European unity and European identity. And we, Europeans, we have developed a strong bond with our common currency. Ladies and gentlemen, the ECB and the euro also play a crucial role beyond the financial world. You help to make us more sovereign and more independent in global affairs. And I am strongly convinced European sovereignty is the challenge of our generation, more important now than ever. With strong and competitive economies, we have greater influence in the world. We have more clout to promote our values. We have more clout to defend our interests and to uphold the international rules-based order. We have more resources to tackle collective challenges like fighting climate change. The ECB and the euro bolster our sovereignty at least in three ways. First, it reinforces our economic stability. It helps us to counter external shocks. Second, the euro gives us more leverage in international trade. And third, our economic and monetary union helps to drive forward EU integration. Our banking union is a good example. It has made our banking system strong and resilient, but we still need to complete our journey. And that's why at our last Euro Summit, we called for continued efforts to complete our banking union and to speed up progress on our capital market union. to boost our economies with more investments, to drive forward innovation and generate jobs, and to speed up our green and digital transitions. As we celebrate the first 25 years of the ECB, it also makes us think about the next 25 years. Success is measured not in how we start, but in how well we advance. Let's build on our progress with openness and creativity to make sure we are up to the challenges of the next 25 years, to be at the forefront of the green and digital transitions, to ensure our energy and economic security, and to promote our values through partnership building. We have the people, we have the passion and the determination to be a success, and we have a clear compass to guide us, our European values and the promises of the EU, peace and prosperity. The challenges are many, and European sovereignty must be our answer, our path to making the EU stronger and to better control our own destiny without letting others decide for us. We must build our sovereignty together, brick by brick, next generation EU, security and defense, our steadfast support to Ukraine. That's how we defend Europe's values and interests, both at home and abroad. And you, at the ECB, dear Christine, you play a key role. A special thanks to the staff of the ECB and the national central banks for your hard work and dedication. Happy birthday, ECB. Bon anniversaire.
Madame la Présidente, chère Christine, Herr Bundeskanzler, lieber Olaf, my dearest Mario Draghi, cher Jean-Claude Trichet, Presidents, Prime Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests. I'm fully aware of the fact that between you and a wonderful main course and cutting the cake is only one obstacle, and that's me. And therefore, I'll be brief. On the 1st of January this year, I was in Zagreb, not to celebrate New Year, but to celebrate Croatia's accession to the Eurozone. And the joy I saw, the enthusiasm, the pride on that very day was impressive, was heartwarming, touching, and it once again told me that the euro is so much more than cash in our pockets. The euro defines in many ways what we are as a union between national identity and a European destiny. The euro is the symbol of the ideals we share and the stability we promote. 20 member states, 350 million people, one single currency. And we will need this strength, because when we talk about climate change, digitalization, and our massive need for investment, the answer is not just wind turbines, semiconductors, and speed. The answer is also a strong and a reliable currency. For our European Green Deal, Europe's growth strategy, I am very grateful to have the ECB as a trusted partner. Europe not only leads the global transition to climate neutrality by 2050, but the euro has become the currency of choice for sustainable finance. We have started issuing green bonds worth 250 billion euros as part of Next Generation EU. This makes us the largest issuer of green bonds in the world. Now we must stay the course, ensure that Europe delivers on its collective commitment to a sustainable future. And the ECB is, of course, playing its part, from assessing financial risks related to climate change, to greening monetary policy operations, and helping to scale up green finance. A second thought, of course, is about digitalization. Our economies are rapidly going digital. And yes, we are eager to explore the full potential of AI. And we want to know about all the other groundbreaking technologies for our industry and services. So together with the ECB, we are working on a digital version of the euro to complement our trusted banknotes and coins. We should never forget who it is meant to serve, and that is our citizens. It is the trust of our citizens and businesses that the digital euro needs to earn. In this spirit, the Commission will shortly put forward a proposal for a legal framework for Europe's digital currency. And finally, as has been said, we have unfinished work in the economic and monetary union that underpins the euro. Our banking union needs to be completed. We also urgently need to progress on the capital markets union. There is no other way to unleash the huge investments necessary for the green and the digital transition. And our economic governance framework needs to tackle the current reality of high public debt and huge investment needs. I know the ECB is a powerful advocate of further progress in strengthening our economic and our monetary union. The Commission has put solid proposals on the table in all these fields. Now, we must work together to make those proposals a reality. So, with these thoughts and these announcements, happy birthday, dear ECB. 25 years of ECB are not only 25 years of prosperity and stability, but also a great example of European strength that we can develop if we act as one. Alors, bon courage, bon anniversaire, herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag. Vielen Dank.
We shall finish the formal part of the evening with the European anthem played by our wonderful pianist, also a member of the staff of the ECB, Taj Strauss. Thank you so much. And the European anthem will be interpreted by Olga Koshtekova, who is a Ukrainian refugee who has arrived in Germany, who has been hosted by one of the ECB staff members when she arrives. And she has a beautiful voice, and I would ask you to applaud her for all that she does.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here today. And I very want to thank you for your support in my country. Thank you so much.